The backstage door opened slightly, a dim light shining through the window, and Sam stood there, silent, his deep eyes filled with 1,000 unspoken words. Caitriona was still in her camera dress, her hair slightly messy, her breathing quick after the last take. They had just finished a kissing scene that had lasted longer than expected. The director had called, cut, but their hearts had not yet stopped. She turned around, intending to walk away, but Sam spoke softly, his voice hoarse. "Are you really going, Kate?" She stopped. The whole room was silent. Outside, the sound of the night rain pattered on the tin roof, like the heartbeat of someone trying to hide something. "We promised, Sam, we would not let the boundaries blur anymore." "The boundaries?" He smiled faintly, stepping closer. "So what just happened between us? Acting?" Kate turned back, her eyes filled with conflict. She said nothing, just clasped her hands together. But as Sam moved closer, his breath mingled with hers, and the distance between them seemed to disappear. A second, 2 seconds, the world outside seemed to stop moving. He reached out and touched her cheek lightly. "I tried to forget, but when you look at me like this, Caitriona, it all falls apart." She shook her head, tears glistening in her eyes. "You can't say those things, when there are so many eyes out there watching us." "I don't care anymore." Sam's voice seemed to crack in the night. "The whole world may see us as characters, but I only see one woman I can't take my eyes off, not even once." Kate closed her eyes, trying to stop herself from trembling, but when his lips touched her forehead, as light as a confession, everything she had built up went up in smoke. She let out a sigh, almost a sob. "Sam, if anyone finds out." He squeezed her shoulder gently. "Let them know." Outside, thunder rumbled, lights flickered. They stood there, in a storm of real and unreal emotions, two worlds colliding violently. And in that moment, it was no longer Jamie and Claire, no longer two actors performing. It was just Sam and Caitriona, in the middle of the rainy night, admitting that they had gone too far to turn back. The room was still bathed in a soft yellow light, a light that made everything seem so real and naked. Caitriona took a step back, but Sam didn't let go. His hand still held her, not hard, but enough to make her heart pound. "Sam, you can't keep doing this. I can't." Her voice trembled, but he interrupted, his eyes burning. "Can't or don't dare." Caitriona looked at him, her lips parting and closing. The answer caught in her throat. She was used to that look, the look of a man who refused to back down, even when faced with an abyss. She tried to regain her composure. "We both have our own lives. There are people waiting for you out there. And me, too." Sam was silent for a moment, then smiled softly, a sad smile that hurt. "I know, but what's between us, Kate, it doesn't disappear just because someone's waiting." She turned away, her eyes on the wooden floor, where drops of water from the leaking roof were pattering. He stepped forward, standing close behind her. The distance between them was only a breath. Kate could feel his heartbeat, rapid and real. He spoke softly, like a confession. "I tried to love someone else. Tried to forget you, but when the camera stopped, when the lights went out, I still only saw you in my head. Always you." She closed her eyes. Part of her wanted to go back, wanted to believe, wanted to immerse herself again. But the other part was afraid, afraid of the price of something that shouldn't have happened. "You say that, and tomorrow, when everything spreads, when the press speculates again, when the audience looks in, what will you do?" "I'll be silent, like always. But this time, I won't deny it." Caitriona turned back, staring at him in shock. "Sam, you're crazy." "Maybe, but at least this time, you're crazy for real," he said, stepping closer. His hand touched her neck, his fingers tracing the line of her collarbone. She shivered slightly. The room held its breath. They stared at each other for a long time, a look long enough to break all boundaries. Then he kissed her. It was unlike any kiss they'd ever done. No director shouting, action, no camera, just the two of them forgetting themselves in the darkness. The kiss was long, shaky, awkward, but so real that it made the world outside seem distant. Caitriona spoke in a ragged breath. "We can't go back after tonight, Sam," he whispered, his lips still touching. "I know, and I don't want to go back." A bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, illuminating their faces, love, fear, and passion. Then, there was a knock on the door. They pulled apart, their hearts still pounding. A voice rang out from outside. "Sam, Kate, the director wants to see you two right away. There's something about the last scene." They both stood still, not daring to look at each other. Sam sighed softly, taking a step back. "Let's go back to their world." Kate nodded slightly, but as she passed him, his hand caught her wrist one last time. A gentle squeeze, as if reminding her that what had just happened was no dream. She said nothing, just looked at him, her eyes full of unfinished business. Then she opened the door and walked out, leaving behind her the scent and an unfillable void. That night, Sam did not sleep. He sat by the window, watching the rain fall, replaying in his mind the image of her lips, her breath, and her last words, "We can't go back." He knew she was right. But he also knew that, once that fire had been touched, it would never go out. And the next morning, when Caitriona walked into the studio, their eyes met again, just for a split second. But enough for both of them to know, it wasn't over. Not at all. The next morning, the studio was bustling. The atmosphere was bustling as usual, but among the crowd, only two people tried to avoid looking at each other. Sam walked past Caitriona, his eyes stopped for just half a second, enough to make her heart clench. Everything was the same, except, now, between them, there was a secret that no one was allowed to know. But secrets always have a way of revealing themselves. In the afternoon, in the dressing room, Caitriona heard two assistants whispering. "You see, Sam didn't come back to the hotel last night. And Kate disappeared until morning." "Don't talk nonsense, but I heard someone took pictures in the parking lot." Caitriona's heart stopped. She tried to stay calm, smiling as if nothing had happened. But when she stepped out into the hallway, she saw Sam standing there, leaning against the wall, holding her phone. His eyes drooped, the screen displaying a text message from an unknown number. "If you don't want those pictures to appear, control yourself better." Kate walked slowly over. "Do they know already?" Sam nodded slightly. "Not sure, but soon." The silence stretched. She looked at him, her eyes filled with fear and sadness. "We can't let this ruin everything, Sam. The movie, the reputation, your family." He interrupted, his voice low but firm. "I don't care about reputation anymore." "But I do," she exclaimed, her voice choking. "I've sacrificed my whole career, my whole life to keep everything in balance. I can't just lose it all over one night." Sam was silent. For the first time, he didn't protest. His eyes no longer had fire, only sad understanding. He nodded slightly. "I understand. Maybe I was wrong, thinking that we could live like in the movies." Caitriona turned away. Tears fell, not because of regret, but because she knew, sometimes, love is not enough to fight against reality. That afternoon, they filmed the last scene, Jamie and Claire's farewell scene. The whole crew praised it as one of the most touching scenes they had ever seen. No one knew, it was not just acting. When the director shouted, "Cut," Sam stood still, his eyes red. Caitriona turned away, trying to hold back her tears. No words were said, no need to say. Everything was over, on film, and in real life. After that scene, Sam disappeared from the set. Kate received a single text message that night. I won't make you choose again. But if there's another life, I'll find you again, no matter who you're playing. The text had no greeting, no end. Just a blank space, like the last breath of a dream. She sat silently in the empty room, the light reflecting off the mirror, her eyes swollen from crying. On the table, the script was still open, the last page read. They part ways, but their souls remain bound. Kate smiled through her tears. Maybe it was true. Outside, it was raining again. And amid the rain, she thought she heard Sam's voice, soft, but clear. Goodbye, my Claire. She closed her eyes, letting everything fade into the night.